The rain-slicked streets of Seattle gleamed under the sodium lamps as I pulled up to Marcus Hale's curb, my heart pounding like a drum in some forgotten war chant. I told myself 1,000 times on the drive over that this was just coffee, harmless, parent-to-parent chatter about our boy's latest classroom antics. But the way his text had lingered on my phone all afternoon, casual yet charged, had unraveled me. One step out of the car, and there he was, filling the doorway like a storm cloud promising thunder, his voice a low rumble that said my name like it was the only word worth speaking. I wiped my palms on my jeans, the chill of the Pacific Northwest autumn seeping through my jacket, and forced a smile as Jamie bolted past me toward Tyler, the two 8-year-olds colliding in a whirlwind of backpacks and whoops. "Mr. Rivera, come see the fort we built," Jamie yelled, his gap-toothed grin oblivious to the knot twisting in my gut. Marcus chuckled, that deep, resonant sound that had haunted my thoughts since parent-teacher night 2 weeks ago, when he'd leaned over the snack table and murmured about how our sons were thick as thieves already. Thick as thieves. God, if only he knew how those words had kept me up, replaying the brush of his arm against mine, the faint scent of pine and leather that clung to him like a secret. "Alex," he said now, stepping aside to let me in, his blue eyes locking onto mine with an intensity that made the world narrow to just us. "Glad you made it. Traffic's a beast this time of night." His hand grazed my shoulder as I passed. Accidental, maybe, but it sent a jolt straight through me, awakening parts of myself I'd buried under layers of single-dad routine and quiet resignation. The house smelled of garlic and fresh bread, a far cry from my own bare-bones apartment, where takeout containers were my closest companions. Toys littered the living room floor, a testament to chaos embraced rather than endured, and Tyler was already dragging Jamie toward a blanket-draped couch fortress, their giggles a soundtrack to this improbable evening. We settled in the kitchen, Marcus pouring coffee in a mismatched mugs while I perched on a stool, trying not to stare the way his forearms flexed under rolled-up sleeves. He was everything I wasn't, broad and unyielding, the kind of man who commanded a room without trying, an alpha in the truest sense. Not the toxic caricature, but the steady force that made you want to lean in. Widowed 3 years now, he let slip during that first awkward chat at school pickup, his voice cracking just enough to reveal the fissures beneath his calm exterior. Me? Divorced 2 years. The kind of split that left scars too raw for small talk. My ex vanishing into the ether of straight-passing regret while I pieced together a life for Jamie on freelance graphic design gigs and too many late nights scrolling dating apps that led nowhere. So, Marcus started, sliding the mug toward me, his fingers lingering a beat too long on the handle. "Jamie's been talking nonstop about that science fair project. Tyler's obsessed with volcanoes now. Says he's going to make one erupt baking soda all over the garage." His smile was easy, but there was a hunger in it, a spark that mirrored the one flickering dangerously in my chest. We talked for what felt like minutes but stretched into an hour. School gossip, the absurdity of PTA politics, the shared exhaustion of bedtime battles. Laughter came easier than it had in months, his presence a balm against the loneliness I'd armored myself with. And then, as the boys' voices grew muffled from the living room, he leaned across the island, his knee brushing mine under the counter. "You know, Alex, I wasn't sure you'd come, but I'm damn glad you did." The air thickened, charged with the unspoken. I swallowed hard, my pulse a traitor. Me too. It was the truth, raw and unfiltered, and in that moment, as rain pattered against the window like hesitant applause, I realized I was already in too deep. The evening blurred into a haze of shared stories and stolen glances. Marcus moved with a grace that belied his size, plating pasta with sauce he'd simmered from scratch. Nothing fancy, but the effort hit me like a revelation. We ate at the dining table, the boys chattering about superheroes and recess conquests, while Marcus and I traded barbs about our own childhood follies. "Grew up in a tiny town outside Spokane," he said, twirling spaghetti on his fork. "Football star of the works. Thought that's all life was, until it wasn't." His eyes darkened, a shadow crossing his features, and I knew he meant Elena, his late wife, gone too soon to cancer, leaving him to navigate fatherhood's tempests alone. I nodded, my own ghost stirring. Portland for me. Artsy kid in a sea of loggers. Came out at 16, lost half my friends overnight. Then Jamie's mom. Well, she tried, but love isn't a costume you wear for the world. The words tumbled out, vulnerability cracking my facade, but Marcus didn't flinch. Instead, he reached across the table, his hand covering mine in a grip that was firm yet tender. "Sounds like we've both been through the ringer. But look at us now, raising little hellions still standing. His thumb traced a slow circle on my knuckle, and heat bloomed where our skin met, a promise of more if I dared. By 9, the boys were yawning, sprawled on the couch amid popcorn kernels and a half-watched cartoon. Marcus scooped Tyler up effortlessly, murmuring goodnights, and I did the same for Jamie, our arms brushing in the hallway as we tucked them into the guest room bunk beds. The house fell quiet, save for the distant hum of the city, and we found ourselves back in the kitchen, wine replacing coffee, the bottle half empty before I noticed. "Stay a bit longer?" he asked, voice husky, leaning against the counter with that alpha poise that made my knees weak. I should have said no. Jamie needed routine, I had deadlines, but the pull was magnetic, his nearness a gravity I couldn't escape. We talked deeper then, voices low as the clock ticked past 10. He confessed the nights he'd lain awake, questioning if he'd ever feel alive again after Elena. I admitted the fear that gripped me every time Jamie asked why we didn't have a normal family. Normal's overrated. Marcus growled softly, stepping closer until our breaths mingled. What if this us is the real thing? His hand cupped my jaw, callous thumb grazing my stubble, and time fractured. I leaned in, or maybe he did, our lips meeting in a kiss that was fire and forgiveness, slow at first, then urgent, as if we'd both been starving for this exact moment. When we broke apart, foreheads pressed together, the world reformed around us. Rain-lashed windows, the faint scent of his cologne, the echo of our son's snores down the hall. "Marcus," I whispered, my voice breaking on the edges of hope and terror. He pulled me into his chest, arms enveloping me like a shield against the storm outside. "Don't go, Alex. Not tonight." And as I sank into him, the weight of years lifting just a fraction, I knew leaving would carve a hollow I'd never fill. Dawn crept through the blinds like a hesitant intruder, painting Marcus's bedroom in soft grays and golds. I woke to the rhythm of his breathing, his arm draped possessively over my waist, our bodies tangled in sheets that smelled of him, of us. Panic flickered at the edges of my mind. Jamie in the next room, the school run looming, the irreversible line we'd crossed. But then he stirred, murmuring my name in that gravelly morning voice, and the panic dissolved into something warmer, more dangerous, a yearning that scared me as much as it thrilled. We moved quietly, stealing kisses in the hallway as we roused the boys. Breakfast was a chaotic symphony, pancakes flipping on the griddle, Tyler smearing syrup on Jamie's plate with gleeful abandon, Marcus's foot nudging mine under the table in silent conspiracy. "Dad, can Jamie stay for the weekend?" Tyler piped up, oblivious to the undercurrent. Marcus shot me a questioning look, his eyes alight with mischief. "What do you say, Alex? Fort building marathon." My heart stuttered. Yes, 1,000 times yes, but reality intruded. My empty fridge, the stack of invoices waiting at home. Still, I nodded, the words slipping out like a vow. "Sure, if it's okay with you." Dropping the boys at school felt surreal, our hands brushing as we waved goodbye from the carpool line. Marcus turned to me in the parking lot, his expression a mix of tenderness and resolve. "Last night, it wasn't just the wine, Alex. I meant every second." He kissed me then, quick and fierce against the console, heedless of the minivan idling behind us. Driving away, my reflection in the rearview showed a man I barely recognized, flushed, alive, terrified of the fall. Work blurred into a fog of half-hearted sketches and client emails, my mind replaying the curve of his smile, the way he'd whispered confessions in the dark. By afternoon pickup, the tension had built to a fever, and when Marcus suggested dinner at his place again, no pressure, just us and the kids, I didn't hesitate. The evening unfolded like a dream, grilling burgers in the backyard as the boys kicked a soccer ball, laughter mingling with the sizzle of meat. Later, with them tucked in early, we sat on the porch swing, a blanket over our laps, his head on my shoulder as stars pricked the Seattle sky. "Tell me about Elena," I said softly, tracing patterns on his knee. He tensed, then sighed, the story spilling out in fragments. Their whirlwind college romance, the joy of Tyler's birth, the nightmare diagnosis that stole her light by 32. "I thought I'd never feel this again," he admitted, voice thick, like my heart was locked away. I turned, cupping his face, our kiss deepening into a reaffirmation. "It's not locked, Marcus. It's just waiting for the right key." But shadows loomed even in paradise. A text from my ex, Sarah, casual, probing about Jamie's well-being, stirred old wounds. She'd moved on, married now to a woman who made her whole, but the divorce had left me questioning my worth, my ability to build something lasting. I showed Marcus the message over midnight coffee, vulnerability raw. She checks in sometimes, like she's auditing my failures. He pulled me close, his embrace a fortress. You're not a failure, Alex. You're the man who's captured me, body and soul. His words ignited us again, love-making slow and reverent on the living room rug, bodies mapping each other's scars until exhaustion claimed us. Friday brought the weekend promise, but Saturday morning shattered it. Tyler woke feverish, a cough rattling his small frame, and Marcus's calm cracked into quiet panic. It's probably nothing, he muttered, bundling the boy into the car for the pediatrician, but his eyes betrayed the fear of history repeating. I insisted on coming, Jamie in tow, my hand in his as we waited in the sterile office. Bronchitis, the doctor said, antibiotics and rest. Relief washed over us, but in the pharmacy line, Marcus gripped my arm too tightly. I can't lose him too, Alex. I just can't. We nursed Tyler through the day, me brewing tea, while Marcus read stories in a voice hoarse with unshed tears. Jamie helped build a pillow fort around his friend's bed, their innocence a balm. That night, as the boys slept, Marcus broke, collapsing against me on the couch, sobs racking his frame. I'm scared all the time, he confessed. Of screwing up, of being alone forever. I held him, whispering truths I'd only just begun to believe. You're not alone. Not anymore. Our connection deepened in that vulnerability, love taking root in the fertile soil of shared fragility. By Sunday, Tyler was mending, color returning to his cheeks, and the house buzzed with recovery's energy. We ventured out for a park picnic, the boys racing across damp grass while Marcus and I sat on a bench, shoulders touching. Move in with me, he said abruptly, the words hanging like a dare. My breath caught. Too soon, too much, but the vision bloomed. Mornings tangled together, evenings with our sons as one unit, a family forged from fragments. I need to think, I replied, but my heart screamed yes. The proposal lingered like smoke after a fire, curling through my thoughts as we packed up the picnic. Jamie tugged at my sleeve, eyes wide. Dad, why is Mr. Hale looking at you funny? I ruffled his hair, forcing levity. Just grown-up stuff, buddy. But inside, turmoil churned. The logistics of merging lives, the risk of shattering our fragile harmony if it crumbled. Marcus drove us home in silence, his hand on my thigh a steady anchor. But doubt whispered that alphas like him deserved unbroken things, not my mosaic of a heart. Monday dragged, school drop-off a ritual laced with longing glances across the playground. Marcus texted mid-morning, miss you already. Dinner tonight? I agreed, but work's demands piled on. A rush project for a client in New York, deadlines that kept me glued to my laptop until the boys' bedtime. When I finally arrived, disheveled and apologetic, he met me at the door with a kiss that erased the day's grime. Rough one, he murmured, leading me to the kitchen where takeout waited, candles flickering defiantly against the mundane. We ate cross-legged on the floor, boys banished to the TV upstairs, and the conversation veered into uncharted waters. What if it doesn't work? I voiced the fear aloud, fork pausing midair. Jamie's my world, Marcus. I can't append him for this. His jaw tightened, but his eyes softened. Then we take it slow. Weekends here, merge schedules. But Alex, I see it. A life where we're not just surviving, but thriving. Together. He painted the picture. Family vacations to the Olympics, holiday traditions blending our histories, nights like this multiplied into forever. The romance of it tugged at me, but so did the terror of loss. That week blurred into a tentative dance. Nights at his place when deadlines allowed, mornings stealing coffee together before the school rush. The boys adapted seamlessly, their bond a mirror to ours, but cracks emerged in the quiet moments. One evening, as Marcus grilled steaks, his phone buzzed incessantly. Work calls from his construction firm, a promotion dangling with travel demands. Alaska for 2 weeks, he explained later, apology in his tone. Starts next month. Jealousy flared, irrational and sharp. Me alone again, Jamie questioning the empty chair at dinner. You'll crush it, I said, masking the ache, but he saw through it, pulling me into a hug that promised he'd return unchanged. Intimacy became our refuge, bodies speaking what words fumbled. In his bed, under the slanted ceiling beams, we'd explore with a hunger born of time's scarcity, his hands mapping my hips, my lips tracing the tattoos hidden under his shirt, remnants of a wilder youth. You're beautiful, he'd growl, voice reverent, making me believe it for fleeting eternities. Yet doubt festered. A late-night scroll through old photos unearthed Sarah's latest post, her wedding album, radiant with a wife and adopted kids. Happily ever after, the caption read. I slammed my phone down, tears hot, and Marcus found me curled on the bathroom floor. Hey, he soothed, lifted me effortlessly. She's her story. This is ours. His reassurance held, but life's gales tested it. Tyler's school play loomed, a dinosaur epic where both boys starred as raptors. Rehearsals clashed with my gigs, Marcus's site visits, and frustration simmered. One night, after a missed cue left Jamie in tears backstage, I snapped at Marcus in the parking lot. We can't keep winging this. The kids need stability, not our half-assed juggling. He recoiled, hurt flashing in his eyes. I'm trying, Alex. For us. The drive home was silent, Jamie's sniffles the only sound, and I crashed on my couch alone, regret a bitter companion. Reconciliation came at dawn, Marcus at my door with coffee and contrition. I hate fighting, he admitted, pulling me onto the stoop. Makes me feel like I'm failing you already. We talked out, boundaries, calendars, the raw edges of blending lives. By noon, we'd mapped a plan, shared custody apps, therapy for the boys if needed, date nights etched in stone. The makeup was tender, lovemaking in my cramped apartment, a contrast to his spacious home. Urgent, affirming, sealing our pact. As the play approached, unity bloomed. We sewed costumes together, Jamie's tail feathers askew but proud, Tyler's roar perfected over ice cream rewards. Opening night, in the dim auditorium, Marcus's hand enveloped mine, his whisper hot against my ear. This is what family feels like. The curtain rose on chaos and joy, our sons bounding on stage, and as applause thundered, tears pricked my eyes, not from the spectacle, but from the man beside me, the life unfolding beyond the footlights. The play's success lingered like applause in our veins, propelling us into a rhythm that felt dangerously close to destiny. Post-performance pizza parties became tradition. The four of us crammed into booths at the local joint, sauce-smeared faces and inside jokes forging bonds tighter than blood. Marcus's promotion loomed, but he'd negotiated remote oversight for the Alaska stint, buying us precious weeks. No leaving you hanging, he'd vowed, sealing it with a kiss that tasted of pepperoni and promise. Yet romance's bloom invited thorns. Whispers started at school, eyebrows raised at our joint pickups, a PDA mom cornering me with saccharine concern. Jamie's adjusting well, too. Everything. Her implications stung, dredging memories of small-town judgments I'd fled years ago. Marcus, ever the shield, overheard and shut it down with a polite but steel-edged dismissal. Mind your lane, Karen. Later, in the car, he fumed quietly. People like that, they don't get it. But we do. His protectiveness warmed me, but unease stirred. Was I dragging him into my baggage, tainting his alpha invincibility? Doubt crested during a rare night out. Just us at a dimly lit jazz bar in Capitol Hill, the city's queer heart pulsing around us. Saxophone wails underscored our confessions over whiskey sours. I worry I'm not enough, I admitted, staring into amber liquid. You're this force. Kids adore you, work bows to you. What if I fade into the background? Marcus's laugh was low, disbelieving. He took my hand, thumb stroking my pulse. Fade? Alex, you're the color of my world. Before you, it was grayscale, surviving for Tyler, nothing more. You make me want to live. His words dismantled my fears, leading us to the bar's shadowed corner, where kisses turned heated, hands wandering under the table. We stumbled back to his place, boys at a sleepover, the night ours alone. Lovemaking was a symphony, slow builds to crashing crescendos, his body over mine a testament to desire's depth. Afterward, tangled and sated, he traced my spine. Marry me. Not today, but soon. Make this official. The proposal hung, not a question, but an inevitability, and I whispered yes into his neck, the future crystallizing. Alaska called 2 weeks later, Marcus jetting north with promises of daily calls and early returns. The house felt cavernous without him, Jamie and I rattling around my apartment like ghosts. Nights stretched long. I'd cook solo dinners, Jamie's chatter filling the void, but sleep evaded me, dreams laced with his absence. Tyler stayed over twice, the boys' playdates a lifeline, but the boys' quiet moments echoed his father's worry. When's your dad coming back, Mr. Alex? I'd hug him tight, masking my own ache. The separation tested us. Time zones mangling schedules, signals dropping mid-sentence. One call, Marcus's voice crackled with fatigue. Site's a mess, delays everywhere. Might be another week. Frustration boiled over. I snapped about priorities, He countered with crew pressures, and we hung up wounded. Regret hit like a wave. I texted an apology, met with his, "I love you. Coming home soon." The words, first uttered in a fevered post-coital haze, now landed like anchors, steadying the storm. Reunion was at Seattle-Tacoma, me waiting at arrivals with Jamie clutching a welcome home sign, Tyler vibrating beside us. Marcus emerged, travel-worn but beaming, scooping both boys into bear hugs before his eyes found mine. The kiss was airport public, unapologetic, drawing stares we ignored. Homeward, in a van crammed with luggage and laughter, normalcy resumed. Dinners, homework, the quiet joy of proximity. But reintegration unearthed fissures. Marcus returned changed, distant at times, haunted by a near miss on sight, a beam collapse that could have buried him. Nightmares jolted him awake, sweat slick and gasping. I'd soothe him, but walls rose, his alpha pride recoiling from vulnerability. "I'm fine," he'd grunt, pulling away, leaving me adrift. One explosive argument erupted over nothing, a forgotten grocery run, escalating to core fears. "You shut me out," I yelled, "like I'm not worth the mess." He roared back, "I don't want to drag you down." The silence after was deafening, boys peeking from doorways, wide-eyed. Healing began with honesty. We sought a counselor, queer-friendly, no-nonsense, sessions peeling back layers, his grief's resurgence, my abandonment scars. Progress was incremental, shared journals of daily gratitudes, walks where words flowed freer. Romance reignited in small flames, picnics at Green Lake, his hand in mine as ducks quacked approval. The boys sensed the shift, their play more inclusive, forts now dubbed our family's castle. Fall deepened, leaves carpeting Seattle's paths in crimson, mirroring our renewal. A harvest festival, amid hay bales and caramel apples, Marcus dropped to one knee, not with a ring, but a key, to his home, our home. "Move in, all the way." Jamie hooped, Tyler clapped, and I said yes again, tears blurring the pumpkin patch. That night, under harvest moon, we celebrated, bodies and souls entwined, the future no longer a specter, but a hearth. Winter's grip tightened on Seattle, gray skies weeping relentlessly, but our new chapter warmed against the chill. Moving day was a whirlwind, boxes labeled in Jamie's scrawl, Tyler supervising with toy trucks, Marcus and I hauling furniture in syncopated grunts. The house expanded to accommodate us. Jamie's room a mural of comic heroes, my desk tucked in the sunroom, overlooking evergreens. Mornings now meant 4 plates at breakfast, chaos harmonious. Marcus's coffee kisses my wake-up call. Domesticity bred its own dramas. Budget strains surfaced, his firm hit a slump, my freelance dried up amid holiday lulls. Bills piled, tempers frayed over trivialities like thermostat wars. One blizzard-trapped evening, power out, we huddled by candlelight, boys asleep upstairs. "We're drowning," I confessed, ledger open on my lap. Marcus pulled me close, his pragmatism a lifeline. Then we pivot, side gigs, cuts. Together, we brainstormed late, him pitching handyman services, me eyeing illustration commissions, turning crisis into collaboration. By dawn, plans solidified, our bond fortified. External storms brewed too. Sarah reappeared, not as ghost but flesh, visiting Seattle for work, requesting Jamie time. Her email was cordial, but undertones prickled, curiosity about your new arrangement. Marcus urged transparency. Let her see we're solid. The meetup at a neutral cafe was civil. Small talk over lattes, Jamie bridging with tales of school adventures. Sarah's gaze lingered on Marcus, appraising, then softened on me. "You look happy, Alex." Really, her blessing, unspoken but felt, lifted a weight I'd carried since the divorce. Tyler's school teased deeper waters. A bully targeted him. Taunt about 2 dads now, weirdo, echoing slurs I'd endured as a teen. The call from the principal was a gut punch. Marcus stormed the office, alpha fire blazing, demanding action. I tempered him, advocating mediation over expulsion, but rage simmered homeward. "No one hurts my boy," he growled, punching the steering wheel. That night, after tucking a tearful Tyler in, we confronted it. Our fears of imperfection, society's gaze. "We're not perfect," I said, hands framing his face. "But we're enough. For them, for us." Lovemaking followed, fierce and healing, reclaiming power and vulnerability. Holidays amplified everything. Thanksgiving at his sister's, welcoming, if wary of our fast-track, tested facades. Her probing questions over Turkey unearthed Marcus's past reticence about dating post-Elena. Brought a man home, she teased, but eyes searched for cracks. We held firm, toast to new beginnings sealing acceptance. Christmas was ours, tree-trimming marathons, Jamie and Tyler's joint wish list yielding a puppy, a scruffy mutt named Scout, chaos incarnate. Wrapping paper carnage yielded a ring from Marcus. Simple platinum, engraved hours, slipped on my finger amid whoops and wagging tails. New Year's Eve brought reflection. Fireworks burst over the sound as we danced in the living room, boys in pajamas counting down. At midnight, Marcus dipped me low, kiss consuming. To us, he murmured. But euphoria cracked with a call, his firm recalling him to Alaska, indefinite. Emergency overhaul, he explained, voice leaden. Heartache surged. I'd tasted this before the yawning void. Go, I said, steeling myself. We'll hold the fort. His departure was agony. Airport goodbyes, Jamie's brave, wave-masking quivers. Days stretched. I juggled work ramp up with puppy training debacles, boys' questions a daily dirge. Video calls sustained us. Marcus's rugged face pixelated but beloved, tales of northern lights mingling with our mundane victories. Tension built, though. A storm there trapped him longer, signals spotty, my patience fraying into isolation's grip. Crisis peaked mid-February. Tyler spiked to fever, echoes of last year's scare, landing us in urgent care at midnight. Alone, phone dead in the snow, terror clawed me. Decisions mine, Marcus whirled away. Diagnosis, flu, treatable, but the what-ifs ravaged. When he finally called, my voice cracked. I need you here. Not pixels you. His flight booked dawnward, apology a torrent. Reunion at the gate was raw. Embrace bruising, tears salt on lips. I'm sorry, he breathed. Won't let distance win again. Recovery wove us tighter. Spring's thaw mirrored ours. Therapy deepening, commitments voiced. Marcus quit the firm, launching his own outfit, sustainable builds, values aligned. I landed a book cover contract, stability budding. The boys thrived, Scout their furry therapist, school reports glowing with adjusted beautifully. By May, with cherry blossoms riding pink, we planned a commitment ceremony, small, lakeside, queer kin and chosen family witnesses. Vows exchanged under arbor vows. In storms and sun, I choose you. Rings glinting, suns beaming as ring bearers. The kiss sealed eternity's vow. Afterward, picnic revelry, laughter chasing doubts away. In that moment, love's drama yielded to enduring grace. A family not despite fractures, but because of them. Summer unfurled in Seattle's rare glory. Sun-drenched days chasing winter's pallor. Our commitments afterglow infusing every breath. The ceremony's intimacy lingered, photos pinned to the fridge. Marcus and me mid-vow, eyes locked in defiant joy, boys flanking with Scout in tow. Life's cadence steadied, his business humming with eco-projects, my illustrations gracing bookstore shelves, the boys' camp enrollments a rite of passage. Yet drama's embers smoldered. Marcus's sister, Lena, visited, bearing Elena's old journals, a gift laced with unsolicited wisdom. She'd want you happy, Lena said over wine. But pages chronicled doubts about his proclivities, subtle hints of a marriage strained by unspoken desires. Reading alone, while he worked late, jealousy twisted, not of her ghost, but the life unlived. Confrontation brewed. Dinner that night, I slid the journal across the table. Did you ever wonder? His face crumpled, confession spilling. I loved her, Alex. But not like this, not all of me. Came out to her last year of life. She held me through it. Tears mingled with relief. We'd both carried half-truths, but now, whole. Healing meant excavation. Couples retreats in the Cascades. Hiking trails dissecting souls. Nights by fire pits bearing bones. He admitted alpha masks worn to shield pain. I owned perfectionism's cage, fearing I'd never measure up. Breakthroughs came in whispers. I choose you fully, he vowed atop a ridge, wind whipping vows into eternity. Romance rekindled raw. Skinny dips in alpine lakes, bodies slick and unhurried, reclaiming narratives as our own. Back home, ripple spread. Jamie, ever perceptive, drew family portraits at school, two dads prominent, mom a distant figure. Teacher praised mass parental flack. A dad confronted Marcus at soccer practice. Confusing the kids, huh? Alpha fire flared, but he diffused with dignity. Love confuses no one who lives it. The man slunk away, but seeds of community tension rooted. We joined a queer parents group, potlucks and playdates, forging allies, stories shared like armor. Tyler blossomed there, shy shell cracking into confidence. His first crush on a classmate met with our gentle guidance. Adventure called mid-season, a road trip south, RV crammed with tents and tales. Crater Lake's azure depths mirrored our depths, swims turning to splashes, boys' echoes bounding off cliffs. One dusk, campfire crackling, Marcus pulled me aside. "Remember that first night? Thought I'd scare you off." I laughed, nuzzling his neck. Scare myself more? Into the best risk. Under stars, lovemaking whispered, tender, earthbound, suns asleep nearby, family woven inextricable. Return brought grounding. School started, routines locking in, but a curveball landed. Sarah's relocation to Portland, custody tweaks proposed. More weekends with us, she suggested over coffee, her wife's hand in hers a parallel path. Negotiation was fraught. Lawyers, mediations, but yielded balance. Shared holidays, no alienation. Jamie's dual worlds enriched him, questions evolving from why to how we all fit. "Love's big enough," he declared, hugging us both, wisdom beyond years. Autumn's palette returned, harvest fairs echoing last year's joy. Marcus's firm landed a green school build. Ironic justice, walls rising where judgments once fell. Groundbreaking, we stood shovel-ready, boys in hard hats, press snapping family man shots. Headlines praised his vision. Privately, he credited me. "Your heart in every beam." Pride swelled, but so did purpose, volunteering at the center, mentoring queer youth, turning scars to stars. Winter whispered early snows, holidays approaching with layered meaning. Elena's anniversary neared. Marcus planned a quiet release. Ashes scattered at her favorite beach, me beside, hand in his. Waves lapped eulogies unspoken, grief honored not as barrier but bridge. "She'd love you," he said, salt stung, "for making me whole." Tears fell with rain, catharsis cleansing. New Year's dawned deliberate. Resolutions scribed jointly. Adventures unchecked, Japan next spring, vulnerabilities voiced daily. The kiss at midnight was seasoned, deep, assured, boys cheering from stairs. As clock struck, I realized, drama's forge had tempered us. Tension's blade honed love's edge. No fairy tale, but real, flawed, fierce forever. The year turned, Seattle's winters yielding to tentative springs. Our life a tapestry threaded with triumphs and trials. Marcus's school projects soared, grand opening a civic event, rainbow flags fluttering alongside blueprints. Our family front row, as dignitaries lauded inclusivity. Tyler's bully saga resolved in empathy circles, the antagonist apologizing tearfully. Jamie mentored him in recess games, cycles broken young. Pride swelled, humanistic ripples. A foundation launched, scholarships for queer families, our story anonymized but catalytic. Yet intimacy's fires demanded tending. Date nights evolved. Salsa classes were his lead match my sway, rooftop picnics under meteor showers. One anniversary eve, he blindfolded me to the backyard. String lights, dinner al fresco, a playlist of our firsts. Midway, he knelt again, not proposal, but renewal. Vows aren't one and done. I vow you daily. The ring's twist on my finger echoed heartbeats. That night, under canopy, passion peaked. Alpha surrender, my guidance, unity transcendent. Challenges persisted, subtle saboteurs. My career plateaued. Rejection stacking like cordwood, imposter syndrome snarling. Marcus noticed, countering with belief. Co-working sessions, his presence amuse. Breakthrough came unsolicited. A gallery show invite, illustrations of found families, resonating queer souls. Opening night, walls alive with our narrative, collectors clamored. His arm around me, whisper fierce, knew you'd shine. Validation bloomed, but deeper. Partnerships alchemy, turning lead to gold. Boys' growth accelerated. Scouts, science clubs, first heartaches hinted in diary peaks. A sleepover confession from Jamie. "Dad, is it okay if I like boys too?" Heart full, we affirmed, "Love who lights your world." Marcus added gruffly, "Just treat him right, like I do your other dad." Laughter eased fears. Therapy equipped us, normalizing fluidity in a binary world. Summer's zenith brought Japan. Cherry blossoms late but lush, temples whispering ancient loves. Kyoto's gardens cradled quiet moments. Marcus and I feeding koi, boys chasing lanterns. One geisha quarter eve, haiku exchanged, his alpha heart once caged, now roams free in your gaze. Mine, single shadows merged, light eternal in four souls. Tears in twilight, hands clasped over machi, global threads weaving our local legend. Return grounded us in harvest bounty. Fall festivals, now tradition, layered memories. Hayrides echoing proposals, cider toast to ghost befriended. Thanksgiving expanded, Sarah and her wife joining, tables groaning with fusion dishes, toasts bridging divides. To chosen kin, Lena raised glass, Elena's spirit in her smile. Laughter flowed freer, wounds to wisdom. Winter's solstice neared, darkest night birthing light. Holiday lights strung, scout dashing on her bows. We baked, cookies charred but cherished. Christmas morn, gifts unwrapped to revelations. For me, a custom sketchpad etched creator of worlds. For him, a locket with son's photos, Elena's beside. Legacy layered, he murmured, fastening it. Boys Hall, bikes and board games, joy unadulterated. As snow dusted evergreens, reflection crested. From that rain-lashed invite to heart's heart, we traversed tempests, grief's gales, doubt's deluges, society's squalls. Drama distilled to essence. Love's not absence of storm, but dancing in rain. Kissing under mistletoe, Marcus's eyes held universes. Didn't want you to leave then. Pray you never will. I smiled, soul-sated. Never question. Years hence, this tale endures. Not epic's thunder, but quiet valor. Two men, two sons, one improbable home. In vulnerability's valor, we found meaning. Humanity's truest hue, painted in persistence, passion, profound belonging. And in that, we thrived unbreakable.